Good morning. She pounces on that chew toy the moment I start the video up. Lorraine. Good girl. Come here. Come on. Up here. Come on. This is the bone she found when she was a little puppy. She could barely carry it back. She was so proud of it. And I made her carry it herself. About a block. It was funny because she was so off balance. And of course, back then she weighed maybe 45 pounds. And now she's about 65 pounds. I'm hoping she's staying at the same weight. We got to talk about something. And that's, is Easter biblical? Now, I know. A lot of you don't want to give up these holidays. But do you know the source of these holidays? Do you know how biblically oriented they are? Easter's in the Bible one place. Easter's in the Bible. It's mentioned in the Bible. But you have to remember, Israelites were ordered. Yeah, we Israelites, we were ordered to celebrate these ancient high holy days forever. That included the Passover. That included the Feast of Tabernacles. Yeah, there were 3 feasts during the year in which all the men would appear. So our attendance men was required. And of course, back then it was required at the temple in Jerusalem. That doesn't exist anymore. And no, it's not going to exist again. You're going to say, why not? They're building it right now. They're getting ready for that wonderful show of that red heifer up there. I'll tell you why not. The Romans, I think it was about 400 AD. Don't hold me to that. Just taking a guess. About 400 AD got pissed off with the inhabitants of Jerusalem because they would go to Mount David, which was like totally defensible. Remember, the Jebusites lived there first, the giants, the Jebusites, and David went and took it from them. And of course, whatever the Jews wanted to give the Romans some crap, they would go up there and they would defend themselves. And the Romans lost a lot of men getting it back. They finally decided that they'd lost enough men. So what did they do? They figured out it was going to be a lot cheaper for them, instead of losing men, to just excavate the hill, just dig that amount of dirt right down to the bottom. They filled up another valley with the dirt. And there was a spring up there too. So you're telling me, they're going to be able to reproduce that mound with the waterworks, all that other stuff, even the water tunnel, the upper pool, lower pool, all that stuff. I'm not an expert on the Temple Mount, but I'll tell you who was Ernst Martin, Martin. Read The Temples That Jerusalem Forgot. At one time in paperback, it was selling for $400 a copy. That's right. Back in print, Ramona Martin, his widow. The phone's been disconnected. She was older when I knew her, so I'm not expecting that she's alive today. But I would call her about once a year, and she got a little upset with me. If you're not buying books, why are you calling me? Okay. Well, I bought his books. Didn't get to read them all yet. But The Temples That Jerusalem Forgot covers. Dr. Martin wrote about some wild stuff, and he did some articles that are very important. But still, the most important thing about Easter is it's not part of our tradition. It's part of churchianity. You love the lie. Ishtar, Easter, comes from Babylonia. And I don't know where it came before that. But it sure is not biblical, and that's not what we were commanded to celebrate forever. Why would we be commanded to celebrate a holiday forever? Well, it might be beyond my pay grade to answer that for you. And if you got an answer, I want to hear from you. Yahweh set this thing up like clockwork. I mean, this whole planet, the whole solar system, probably the whole universe is set up just marvelously so. But let's look up Easter, if I remember how to spell it. No, it doesn't start with an I like Ishtar does. Easy. Easter, one time. Yeah, only one entry in the entire, well, in Strong's Concordance. Oh man, my buddy passed away. I wish I could get some of his concordances. It's in the book of Acts. Acts 12:4. So we're going in our proper name version of the proper name King James Bible. Romans is too far, John's too early. Acts 11. Thanks for hanging with me there. I know I get boring. I know. Acts 12:4. I don't think I have this marked up in my new Bible. I'm supposed to have a newer one. That's not right. Oh boy. Acts 12:4. Intending after Easter to bring him. Maybe it's in the Bible twice. Huh. Wow. Well, this is interesting. I hadn't seen this before. Strong's Concordance says after Easter 12:4. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him. So I'm assuming that's 400. It's not just a century. It's not just 100 soldiers. Intending after Passover to bring him forth to the people. In the King James Version, Easter's right there. And so now I've got to go study the scriptures myself to be able to do this with you. But there's a passage in here where a man of high ranking was dressed in a golden toga, if you will. And everybody marveled at the splendor of his robe. And he said, they said to him that he looked like a god. And they say he was struck down and died from worms on the spot, or an angel on the spot, because he failed to humble himself and correct the people and assure them that he wasn't a god, so the gods struck him down. Oh boy. Just finished doing a little house cleaning for an hour this morning, so I'm going to tell you right now that I'm a little stymied by this. I got to get more of my Bibles out here and around so I can go to the different versions. But this is a big deal to me, because I knew Easter was in the Bible one time, but Strong's is telling me that this word in Acts 12:4, after Passover to bring him forth to the people, Strong says that was Easter. But I'm assuming this is a more accurate translation. I really am. So I'm assuming that it's kosher, it's proper. And I'm assuming the original King James had an error in it. This is a much newer version, much newer translation. The copyrights on the front cover say 2015, 2019. I believe 2015 was when the text itself was copywritten, and 2019 was when the printed copy itself was copywritten. So the idea was copywritten, and then this happened. So I got to do some homework here, because there was a fellow who celebrated Easter. He came from celebrating Easter. And I don't know. This is a big deal. I'm going to have to call the pastor. I'm going to have to call the publisher as well. I mean, and I will get back with you. So sadly, this is Easter in the Bible, part 1. I guess it depends.